kids to bed, dad's home. We are the DWO podcast, representing the dad world order. I am the handsome head of household, Mr. Magnificent Mike Martin. With me, as always, the rest of this patriarch pack. We got the big bad bearded daddy. He is Big Rig Eric Maffey.
Honk if you hear me, baby. There we go.
Yeah. And he is the perpetual mid-carder and the two-time world record holder. He is the wrestling t-shirt guy, Cephas.
Cowabunga indeed, boys. I'm on day 851. We've been off for 2 weeks, but we are back with a bang, are we not?
Yes, we are. Yes, we are. We are back. And what a show to come back on. We are here with, a guy that was a staple of me growing up watching wrestling, man. The one and only Eugene. Sir, how the heck are you?
There it is.
Oh, my gosh. I'm not going to lie. Before the show today, I did go on YouTube, and I'm just like, I'm just going to watch Eugene highlights for like an hour. And, man, it does not disappoint. It still holds up.
Yeah, man, it was really good. It was well written. It was a good time period. It was a good time in wrestling. Made you feel good. Magical time for me.
Bro, I still have a cousin who is differently abled, and you were his absolute hero. That's why I have this shirt to begin with. You know what I mean? You were his absolute number one guy, man. So when you won, I remember specifically when you won the titles with William Regal, he was. He won the titles that day, and that was pretty cool. So
I've heard that from so many people that my younger brother, my son, whoever got inspiration from you and thanking me. I've gotten so much more positive affirmation from playing a character that might be a bit edgy now than I ever got. I never got any slack for it. Like, I think there were some media people that said, "What's WWE doing now?" But no one ever said. Some people on Twitter have been trolls, and I usually just retweet it because I think it's funny. Because I've gotten so many appreciative thank yous. So thank you for that. I appreciate it.
Awesome. That's awesome to hear. And it was never, even if you go back and watch it now, I never thought it was done in like a derogatory light in any way. It was awesome. It was entertaining, man.
It was an underdog story of a boy that probably wouldn't make it to that position normally, but got there and achieved, it was a good story.
Absolutely.
They called him a wrestling savant. And I thought that was so cool because you talked about having like inspiration from, having that Rain Man inspiration. So like instead of, a card counter or a savant with numbers, he was a wrestling savant. I thought that was a nice little touch.
I thought it was brilliant.
Well, there was also like more to the character that we never really got to peel the onion of the character. And that was Eugene was supposed to know all the trivia. Like, so if there's any obscure fact about some WrestleMania or some wrestling show somewhere in the world, and this was the attendance and this was the gate, you know what I mean?
Oh,
like minuscule trivia facts. Eugene would know all of them, but we never really got to flesh it out. But I think the character did well regardless.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Also, just want to say what up, Tim.
Hey,
saying
Tim.
What's up to Eugene. That's our dude. Josh Dalton. What's going on?
Hey, Josh.
He said you did the Kenny Gastaway Memorial Show years ago. Heck yeah. But yeah, man, you go back and look at it, and I thought who they paired you up with originally was just so good. I believe it was Coachman was like your first feud in WWE.
Well, they paired me with Bischoff.
Well, yeah, you were Bischoff's nephew.
And immediately got me credibility. He put me with Regal, which was an established character. And then you're right, started me off with a guy that couldn't wrestle to put me in my first angle with, which was perfect.
Swish.
I really know. I've said this before. I don't think they expected me to fail, but I don't think they expected me to succeed. Because my first Coachman, my second angle was like Bischoff.
Yeah.
It was like these were two guys that weren't always wrestlers. That I'm not that I went out and made a match, but we went out and had very good matches. I felt, although I've told this maybe once or twice. I wrestled Bischoff one time in Madison Square Garden, and I tried to do the the move that fit Finley and Lance Storm used to do and on the shoulders, and the guy does a forward roll.
Yeah.
And I broke Bischoff's ribs, so I never did it again.
Oh shit!
Oh man.
Regal, a roll. It's easy. Just do a roll. And I laid it all on him. And it's like, I was like, oh, I'm so sorry.
What
He's
a
not a big
unique
guy.
thing to say. I wrestled Eric Bischoff at Madison Square Garden. That's outrageous.
Oh my gosh.
So you
go
talk
ahead.
about cool moments like that, man. I got to bring one up that I distinctly remember. I remember popping so hard when it happened, when it was you and The Rock, and he's who the people's champion. Who's your favorite wrestler? Triple H. That popped me so hard. I watched that clip today before we went live, and it's just that has to. You look back at those moments, you know, like, oh, that's me with, you know, the biggest box office star of the last 10 years, you know.
That segment is what made me a superstar. Like if the WWE was the mafia, I would have been a made man after that segment.
Yeah.
But I was on like 6 segments of Raw that night. And the whole story, I get to, it was in San Diego. I get to Raw. Sylvain Grenier was friends with Pat Patterson. Pat was in the production meeting earlier in the day. Sylvain comes running to me. Oh, Pat told me they got something great for you. It's either going to, I don't have a very good French Canadian accent, but Sylvain's like, they got something great for you. It's either going to be with The Rock or it's going to be with Rhino. And I sat there for a second. I thought, you know, I like Rhino. Rhino's good, but Rhino's no Rock. And I'm just thinking, it's not going to be The Rock. He's not. He's in Los Angeles doing movies. He ain't going to. He shows up, right? So we start going through that promo. We walked through it. We talked through it with Brian Gerwig, because he wrote a lot of The Rock stuff, and I think he wrote all of Eugene's stuff. And he was the reason Eugene was a success was the writer. So we're going through the promo, and the one line where I said, it doesn't matter to coach. That was my first line. And then I had the line you just said. I couldn't remember the first line. I couldn't remember it. And I went through it. And about the day I did my other segments that I practiced and went back and did that one. Every time I missed it. So live in the ring, live on TV, The Rock, ever professional, he's doing his promo. And I had no idea where my line was. He just put the mic by his hip and goes, your line's up next, kid. And just fed it to me. And like, that was what made me a star. And that's, I always say this, I give thanks to The Rock over and over and over again, because a top guy is supposed to reach down and pull somebody up. And that's exactly what he did to me. And I'm thankful to him for, you know, this career that I've had.
Heck yeah, man. Well, actually, we got a guy reaching out, said you affected him, shared a locker room with him at UPW last year for Marquette Mania. Helped me with my gimmick so much, and I can't thank him enough. There you go.
Okay. That was a good experience in the locker room with me. I usually tend to play maybe some jokes on people, and I'll go ahead and say it, right? So like I'll act like I'm changing, and when my shorts are down, I'll fall in somebody's lap, so my bare ass is on their lap. Right? So I did this not too long ago, and the guy in the locker room goes, "See, I told you he does that. I told you he does that." Like he's been around me before.
The legend has gotten out.
Hey, Eugene.
Thank you,
Our
brother.
dude Tyler wrestles. Gotta love him. Yeah, man. So we were talking about a little bit before the show. You said from Louisville, Kentucky, originally, like grew up there.
Yeah, I was born in Lexington, and I grew up in the Louisville, Kentucky area. I actually lived in southern Indiana, but spent a lot of time in the Cincinnati area and up throughout Kentucky. Wrestled almost every independent, you know, for a good time period there in Kentucky, Tennessee, Ohio, all over the place.
Okay. So you were kind of saying you were like almost right place, right time. You'd been wrestling in OVW before it was a WWE entity, so to speak. So how did you get involved with OVW to begin with?
So I went to a private Catholic school in southern Indiana called Providence High School. And I wanted to be a pro wrestler since I was about 8 years old. Since the first time I saw a Saturday Night's Main Event, I told my mom, this is what I want to do. So when I was a senior, I was in the homecoming court. Although I didn't win, I think I was cheated in that one too. But so they're saying, okay, Nick Dinsmore wants to be a WWF wrestler someday. And a girl that was 2 grades behind me that I'd seen in the hall comes up to me and says, well, my dad has a wrestling school like 10 minutes from here. And that was the daughter of the Nightmare Danny Davis. Her name was April. I met Danny. I signed up for the school in 1996. And then about late 98, early 99-ish is when WWE and OVW paired up to train the developmental talent. So I was in the right place, but I had a little bit more experience when the developmental partnership came in. And I think that helped me out a lot because I was then the guy that was helping train John Cena and Batista and Brock Lesnar and Randy Orton.
Crazy.
Came in. So it was great time. Perfect. It was very good timing, and I was trained by good people.
Heck yeah, man. That's so okay. You said you were part of Saturday night's main event, brought you into it. Was there like a moment specifically that you remember that you were just like, I'm hooked? Like this is it for me.
I think I was like 8 or 9 when I saw my first Saturday night's main event. And we lived around central Indiana. And then when I moved to the Louisville area, that's when I started seeing USWA Memphis wrestling. And I would go to the Louisville Gardens on Tuesday nights. And it was just like all a culmination. Like, you know, I'd really like to do this as a kid. And then as I keep growing, you know, I think I could do this. And then I'm seeing the guys. I'm seeing PG-13 wrestling. I'm paying money to watch PG-13 wrestling going, these guys aren't much older than me. I know I could do this. You know, and it was just the happenstance to be trained. So, I mean, I wanted to do it for a long time. There wasn't like the first time I saw wrestling, and then, you know, when I really stood next to guys like Stan Lane and Steve Kern, the fabulous ones, and I realized, you know, these guys aren't monsters, you know?
Yeah.
I thought.
Kills me. Yeah, we basically like grew up. I mean, I grew up in northern Kentucky, and it had all this like great wrestling schools and promotions all around me, and like never been a lifelong wrestling fan. Same thing, and you know, I had Saturday night main events, you know, Saturday morning, you know, WWE shows. Never once did it cross my mind that I wanted to be a wrestler, and I think it's so weird now in retrospect. As long as I've been a fan, that it never really crossed my mind.
Yeah, I don't know what in my mind told me I could do it, but something did. Crazy, I guess.
That's how life is, man. You know, the manifestation is very real because, I mean, we spoke before the show, I talked about how I do my world record t-shirt videos, right? And you know, while we're at it, I mean, it's April 30th, 2024, and I'm wearing a Eugene shirt while I'm on an interview with Eugene, so I might as well use this exact clip as my video for the day. But like I'm saying, I upload videos every day so I can, you know, verify metadata that I did it on that specific day. And I told myself when I went up to WrestleMania this weekend or this past week or month or whatever, I was like, I am going to get some of the coolest videos I ever have. And I ended up with Mustafa Ali on Friday. I ended up with Ric Flair on Saturday.
Woo!
And Kurt Angle on Sunday. So I did. You can't, you know, you can't beat it.
Right place, right time.
Did Kurt Angle black your eye?
No, I don't think Kurt Angle knew what I was doing, to be honest with you. Like Ric Flair, I 100% asked him first. He was cool with it. You know, it was fine. Kurt Angle was just kind of like, yeah, all right. It's true. Like, what?
Black my eyes when I had my angle with Kurt Angle. He dropped me on my head and blacked my eyes.
Oh, wow.
Pull my hair.
That sounds like a hell of a hit.
Rough.
From him. If it was one of the men, I might have been able to take it or something, you know, but good Lord.
I always heard he's a strong son of a bitch.
Very strong. I mean, size-wise, we were, like, he probably had more muscle mass than I did, but we were similar in size-wise. But yeah, he was just incredibly intense and cardio. Like, he had cardio nonstop.
Yeah.
So, and impressed with him. I just came back from that knee surgery, and I could barely walk. And they wanted me in the big angle with Kurt Angle. So Eugene got beat up by Kurt Angle so he could go on to wrestle John Cena. Yay! But Kurt Angle had all these comedy bits he wanted to do with Eugene. He wanted to do a thing because that's right when Vince wanted him to start getting more aggressive because he's going to wrestle Cena for the belt. So he's going to build Kurt Angle on Eugene, beating Eugene at SummerSlam. So Vince wanted him to start wearing the mouthpiece then. So Kurt was going to do something where, like, he got his mouth hurt or his teeth hurt, and he got it wired or something. And he shows up at the airport, and he's all grumpy and upset, and maybe his luggage is dragging. And they go, "Oh, this must be Eugene." They put him in the short bus, and then there's a guy, gold medalist, and Eugene comes out wearing the gold medal. Go, "You must be the gold medalist," and puts him in the limo to take him to Raw. But Vince comedy because he wanted Angle to be serious. So it was just getting my ass beat for 18 minutes, whatever it was, 10 minutes in SummerSlam and the weeks prior. But I didn't mind.
Hell yeah.
Hey, it's a program with Kurt Angle. I mean,
what up, Raymond?
So I got to ask, both him and William Regal are known to be, for lack of a better term, and not trying to pull the curtain back too bad, but stiff wrestlers. Who would you say is the most? Is Kurt Angle the most intense guy you've been in with, or would that go to William Regal, or is there someone else that we don't know about?
Well, like intensity was Benoit and Kurt Angle. Intensity for me, and I saw it in Macho Man, although I never got to meet Macho Man. And like when we say stiff, I wouldn't classify Kurt as stiff. I would classify him as snug, meaning everything was safe, but it was solid.
Yeah.
And it hurts. I'm not gonna say it doesn't hurt, but stiff I take as like it hurts you. It's
Okay.
The term for me, the term stiff means reckless, as opposed to just a little snug. Regal could do both. He could meat chop and then he could wrestle like a feather. He had the best of both worlds. I mean, I never really got to wrestle. That's the one thing not a regret, but I wish would have happened for Eugene characters, some kind of conflict or resolution or angle between Regal and Eugene.
Yeah.
Where there was a turn or something.
You were tag team. The stories have been done 1,000 times. Do it already.
Like Regal would have been the easy heel.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I'm going to go the easy way, but I don't feel like the people accepted Eugene when I tried to turn heel. But I didn't turn on anybody. I mean, I turned on Hacksaw, and I love Hacksaw, but Hacksaw is not Shawn Michaels. If I would have turned on Shawn Michaels, I might have got more heat.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's booking 20. That's taking the pencil to something erased 20 years ago.
Yeah. No, I get it. But I like the way you differentiate those though, because you hear stiff and you just think like, oh, that person, they hit hard or whatever. Snug and it's stiff. That is an interesting differentiation there.
And like in Karen, you don't want to be in a ring with anybody reckless.
Yeah.
Stiff,
right.
You can sometimes deal with, but
I'm glad you kind of defined that for me, because I don't ever want to be somebody who's saying the wrong words. So
that's what I'm saying. Yep.
Yeah.
Well, in this realm, I think it's perfectly okay because all these terms have leaked out and people just start picking them up and using them. This kind of like, I think like someone could be stiff and okay, and somebody could be stiff and horrible. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But
I like the word snug though, because it is kind of like they're going to take care of you, but man, it's going to hurt a little bit. Yeah.
When you see those guys with their chests all chopped up after matches, or like Edge and Christian had that match, they were bloody. I mean, that's pain, and some of that stuff is.
Oh, yeah.
But it's coming. I got kicked in the back of the head maybe 2 years ago. I was on all fours selling. I got kicked you don't kick somebody in the back of the head when they can't see it, and you don't kick somebody in the head when you can kick them in the shoulder and get the same reaction. So of course I got kicked right in the back of the head, and I've been upset about it for 2 years.
I don't blame you.
Rightfully so. Yeah. That
There's
just seems like common sense.
Yeah, there's no need for any concussions at all. That shit's not good for anybody.
I was just wrestling in England, and I got me a Liverpool hat.
Yeah. Hell yeah. I was just about to ask, how many dates a year are you doing now? You're what, 48, right?
Yeah, I'm 48. I would accept as many bookings as I can get, but I'm getting about two a month, maybe sometimes 3.
Yeah.
I'm not wanting to travel a whole bunch, but like I said, I just did a short tour over in England and Scotland.
That's got to be that's a goal for me. I just, at this point, I've been to 6 WrestleManias. I've been all over. My brother and I go to all these shows together. Our next trips are we want to go to England and we want to go to Japan. We want to go watch wrestling in 2 of the bigger areas. You know what I mean? And there's tons of stuff in the European area where we could see all kinds of different promotions, if you will. And it's so appealing.
There's a lot of wrestling in England and all over Europe, all over Britain. And man, these guys are good, And one difference, like I'll do training seminars and I do them in England, and they'll have like 11-year-old kids in wrestling class. Parents are watching them, and kids aren't doing a whole bunch of crazy things. They're all learning like British wrestling. They're learning how to wrestle. But it's odd to me because I've seen that in the States, but not as often as I've seen it in England. But again, these guys aren't taking power bombs or throwing to the floor. I mean, these guys are wrestling in the ring, doing reversals, and as Americans call chain wrestling, and the British just calls wrestling.
That's definitely a distinguishing difference there.
Rey Mysterio started like stupid early.
So did So did Dominic.
13 or 14. There's a picture of him. I didn't know who it was. Like when he first started, like he was young.
So I love to always ask this too. Who was your travel partner? Who did you travel with a lot when you were on the road with WWE?
So when I first got called up, it was William Regal and Tajiri and myself. And then Regal got sent back down, and Cena came to Raw. So then it was Cena and Tajiri and myself. Tajiri eventually went back to Japan. So then it would be like, if Cena was busy, I would ride with Lance Cade and Rob Conway and Sylvain Grenier. And sometimes Rene Dupree was with them. Trevor Murdoch, Lance Cade and Trevor Murdoch in the La Resistance. Or when the Spirit Squad guys started getting called up, because I trained one of the Spirit Squad guys, and a lot of them came through OVW, so I knew everybody. So, but it was pretty cool to travel with Regal because I could just sit there and pick his brain the whole time.
Oh God, I can only imagine. That had to be awesome.
I could sit and listen to him say anything.
Right?
Here, Will, read the phone book.
In his little tenure with AEW, the way that he treated Excalibur I looked forward to the things he would say to him. You know, he don't even have to wrestle a match to get me absolutely entertained. You know what I mean? He's fantastic.
One of my favorite things is in AEW. He goes, Danhausen comes out. He's like, "Pray tell, who's the demon waif?"
When he came back, and when he was Eugene's manager on the first day, he comes back and Bischoff goes, "Mr. Regal, how have you been?" He goes, "I've had more ups and downs than a horse drawers."
That's amazing.
Like he almost died. He went to India and wrestled and got a parasite from Indian food and got encased in his heart, and he had to take all the heart medicine, and like he nearly died.
Holy
shit!
Wow.
See,
when was this?
That's why I don't eat Indian food.
He was with WWE, and before he came back, like his first day back for a long time off was me. So it was before that. I guess 2002, 2003, because he was on TV and then he was off. And he was getting his heart all taken care of, and he was like when we did the training Eugene video.
Yeah,
I gave him the airplane spin, and the only time he whispers, goes, "Please put me down." But like I could tell, like he was still he wasn't ready then. I don't think he was cleared, but he got cleared in the next month, and then I think I'm perfectly fine now.
So I gotta ask that you talked earlier how about like Eugene was made, you know, you had a great writer. You said how much of it was, you know, completely scripted, and how much were you just like, I'm just gonna improv this and, you know, we'll see what happens.
Like in the ring, I mean, I probably did 90%. Well, either Regal's influence or Fit Finley's influence or our influence did the ring work. But the stuff in the back, generally Regal and Bischoff would have the majority of the verbiage, and Eugene might just throw in a comedy thing here and there. And that was written. I think I only wanted to change one thing, and the commercial never really even got shown. It was leading to one of the SummerSlams, and I guess it was the time of the Olympics, because Regal and I were on a football field in LA at 2 a.m, and I had a big torch, Olympic torch, and I accidentally hit his arm, and his arm catches on fire behind Eugene. And Eugene's doing this long promo about how it's so good, and Regal's behind him, like trying to put this. And I never thought it made air, but the last line was supposed to be Eugene saying "Inferno match," and I said, I think we should say "Stop, drop, and roll." more of a better statement to say than "Inferno match," you know. But it never got shown. I don't know if it's because I changed the line or if they just thought catching Regal on fire might not be good entertainment.
Okay.
But
we got
fire, so I don't know what the difference is.
A little question for you. Anybody current in Independence that could be the next breakout star we may not have heard of?
Oh man, there's so many of them. Hard to know.
I was gonna say I got a laundry list, but they're interested in you, so you tell us.
Man, there's so many guys. But the thing is, when you get beat in the head so much, I remember faces and I remember places, but I don't remember a lot of names. And I would leave somebody if I said someone. But I've seen a lot of good talent all over the world. You know, I'm not gonna knock anybody that's coming up, because this is a young man's business. As much as I would still like to be 24, 25, 28 years old, My knees are not that young anymore. So I can't see one person for sure, because then I'll be leaning towards them, because there are so many guys that are on the cusp of making it to WWE or overseas or AEW or somewhere big.
Yeah. So you're a former OVW world champion. We have had at least one more of those on our show, and that was Jack Vaughn. I'm not sure if you're
And Luke
familiar.
Curtis.
Certified Luke Curtis.
Oh, Luke. That's right. My bad, Luke.
I think I've been on shows with those guys, and I probably have, and I've seen them on social media. But you got to realize, when you're talking about OVW champion, 10 times OVW champion right here.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, that's insane.
You ever thought making a stop back down there? They kind of got a lot of hype going, especially after the Netflix documentary.
As the Hulkster would say never, brother.
Yeah.
Well,
it is wrestling.
Hopefully, you'll let us know if you're coming, because we definitely like to come. We like going to OVW as it is, but that being as far as it away as it is from us, generally, we need to plan those.
I just saw two buddies on Facebook that traveled, that I knew in Sioux Falls, South Dakota, that traveled all the way to OVW, and I was like, oh man, that's awesome. And then they went to you guys with Waverly Hills in Louisville.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they went to Waverly Hills, and then they went down to Graceland. Like, my two buddies just had a big road trip, but they included OVW and Louisville in there. They went to the Derby Museum.
Hell yeah, man.
Nice.
That's
Just
awesome.
stopped by and got him some whiskey.
Bourbon.
Hell yeah.
Whiskey's
we love our bourbon here.
All bourbons are whiskeys.
Yes.
Oh,
Sir.
you're speaking right to Mike's soul here. He's got an entire wall of bourbon over there. So.
So he does. It's true. I have a small collection, and I'm like, wow, I got a lot of bourbon. Then I go to Mike's house, and I'm like, I have nothing.
Yeah, you have a bookshelf. Mike has a library.
Mike has a library. Exactly.
So it's weird though that, like, there's so many bourbon making counties in Kentucky that are dry counties.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I don't get that. I don't understand that. But it is
a lot of them got better. Like the gorge used to be dry, and now I've been down there in the last couple of years, and it's a completely different place. Now it's not dry anymore. And
old laws are slowly falling away.
yeah.
No.
Well, they see money in it too. There's taxes and all that. And, people are going to travel outside of your area to get it anyway. So
football season. How you going to sell alcohol on a Sunday when it's not football season?
Yep.
You know what I mean? Stuff to do.
Yep.
So speaking of, OVW and other indies and things like that, have you noticed, I know we have, just the resurgence in the indie scene right now? I mean, obviously there's more places to work big time with TNA, getting bigger, AEW, WWE, but it feels like the indie scene is just, there's so many good ones out there right now.
There are, man, and so many people putting money into it. I think social media has helped that explode, because there were good indies back then that maybe not everybody saw about, but then once it started growing, then like it really exploded. But I've always heard, and I think this is true, independent wrestling and all other wrestling in the world follows WWE. And WWE, as much as people might complain or people might cheer them for what they do, they've got a huge media conglomerates, circling the world in more countries than most other sports, and they're like making more money than they ever have. And I think that trickles down, if you want to use trickle down economic terms, it trickles down to independents and other companies. And man, it is, man.
We notice it. I mean, we're direct sponsors for Wrestling Revolver, Sami Callihan's promotion. I'm not sure if you're familiar with them or not, but we're sponsors for them. And the not just the growth of the amount of fans that are at shows, but the growth of the intensity of the want to be there. It's cool to like wrestling again. And it's different than it was in the 90s, because it's almost like it's a rebirth of renewal at the same time, because it's all fresh stuff. But I think this past WrestleMania is the best WrestleMania I've ever been to in my life. And I enjoyed top to bottom both days. You know what I mean? And that's saying something, man. I think that we're on an upswing in wrestling, and it's helping all the indies. It's helping all the big companies. I mean, I spend weekly or monthly money on the TNA service now. You know what I mean? Because there's just so many good people on TNA that I need to see it. I need to watch it.
Yeah, man. It was doing well. I hope I can ride out the twilight of my career in it.
I know I would. There's several places I'd love to see a television wise, but indie wise, I'd love to see it at a Revolver show. I feel like it would be an interesting application of your character to fit into the Revolver situation, because Revolver's almost got like a refined ECW almost. It's hard to describe. It's got a little bit of holy shit, but it's got also a whole lot of here's a really good story. You know what I mean? And it's I feel like he would be excellent in that particular situation.
Well, everybody knows that Eugene is strictly soft core.
I could I'll tell you my booking for Revolver would be Eugene versus Shark Boy. Make it happen, Sammy.
I've wrestled the Baldwin, but not this. I don't think I've wrestled. Did I wrestle Shark Boy? I mean, I know him very well. I think I've tagged with him. I might have wrestled him in a 3-way match, triple threat match. I hate saying 3-way. It's not a 3-way. It's a triple threat match. 3-way
come from Skyline.
See, 3-way something else. Yeah.
Yeah. One time I wrestled for the Juggalos, and it was a 3-way for a 3-way, and triple threat match. And there was 2. I'm told they were porn stars, but they didn't look very good looking, but they were nice. But all of a sudden, nobody wanted to win.
I'll take the pen.
Nobody wants to win. And Eugene ended up winning, but it was not all it was cracked up to be.
Yeah. Some of J-Rock's Trailer Park Girls Gone Wild. No, I'm
Yeah.
saying.
You know what I'm saying?
So, go ahead.
Here's a little bit here, man. We just touch on a couple dad things here, man. So is your dad still around? Are you and your dad talk? You cool with your father?
I'm cool, but he passed away 2013. But man, I took him to WrestleMania when I was there, WrestleMania 21.
Oh.
And he was taking pictures of the girls, but from a distance. Like everybody taking pictures. And he's like, and I'm like, if you want a picture, just tell me. Well, I go up to him. Russell.
With his digital.
Yeah. Wrist thing.
Such a dad move.
That was part of my next question. So he was a big fan of Eugene then, huh?
Oh, big time. When I wrestled in OVW one time, Rob Conway had turned on me, and everybody hated Rob Conway, and Rob was yelling at my dad. My dad picks up the chair and hits the ropes with it. And Conway, what's going on here? What's your dad doing? My dad got carried away.
Hey, that's your boy.
Yeah.
So we're nearly the same age. And if I sleep wrong, I'm ruined for a couple of days. But what hurts the worst on you, on a daily basis?
Man,
Is
it goes
back?
to my back to my shoulders. I've had one shoulder surgery, but I think I've re-ruptured it or at least strained it because it's been hurting. This one needs to be repaired. I got both biceps are torn, right? So that space right there.
Oh gosh.
Oh wow.
Something's wrong with my lower back, and then my knees. One of them needs to be replaced, but they told me I'm too young to have a knee replacement because they can't replace the replacement on a 70-year-old man because the replacement wears out after 20 years or something. So, waiting to turn into dark piece by piece.
Yeah, it'd be a pert robot.
Yeah,
we have the money. We can rebuild him.
Yeah.
So we were talking a little bit before the show, and I wanted to bring it back up. You were talking about being in Cincinnati and stuff like that. You said Mark Henry might have let you use a place of his in Cincinnati at some point.
Okay, so I was supposed to wrestle on was it the second Pillman Memorial show? Or maybe the third Pillman Memorial. It was one of the Pillman Memorial shows, and it was when it was building, all the WWE, all the WCW, some of the ECW stars were there. And I was driving from Louisville to Cincinnati, and all of a sudden they said, "Can you make the 6 a.m. radio tomorrow?" Yeah, I guess. And so Mark goes, "Well, you can use my apartment. I got an apartment." And he said Cincinnati, right? So he writes me down the directions. Now, these were the directions. When you go across the bridge, take the first exit, and then you go 3 streets, and you'll see the old-timey cars. Turn left, and then you'll see a squat rack with my name on it. I swear to God, that's what he said. Cincinnati, and that first exit like takes you on expressway going north.
Yeah.
Came back across and come back and I'm calling him and I can't get a hold of him. So finally, like 3 a.m, I finally get a hold of him. He goes, "No, I live in Newport." I go across the bridge to Newport, get off the first exit, 3 streets, old timey cars. There's a apartment building with a squat rack next to it. It had Henry on it. Like, I guess this is it.
Oh my God.
Wow.
I mean, I guess I had a cell phone, but this is before smartphones and GPSs.
Yeah.
At least I had one. And I was like, I'm going through Cincinnati looking for a squat rack with Henry on it.
I'll tell you what, man. We ever get Mark Henry on the show, I am for sure asking him about that because that's great. I love that so much.
Everybody gives directions. Turn left at the old timey cars.
At the old timey cars, yeah.
And it was like a big storeroom of like old timey cars. I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah, that's
right down from the aquarium down there, right? Is there aquarium there?
Yeah.
Not too far from there. Well, once the
Okay.
morning, I saw it.
Yeah, I'm trying to think where those old timey cars down there, but
And this was 20 years ago, 25 years. I mean, it could very well be gone, but it was like a big showroom of indoor, as best I can remember.
I tell you what. Go ahead.
we used to give directions like that though, and then there was MapQuest, which was damn near impossible. So thank God for GPS.
Yeah, this was MapQuest was probably around, but I trusted my friend Mark Henry to just give me legit house.
Give me landmark directions.
An exit number, a street name. No. Squat racks and tiny cars.
He's so pleasant to listen to, man. He's the whole reason I have an XM radio subscription. I look so forward to Bust It Open. I like hearing him, Bully, and Tommy, and even Dave LaGreca at this point. I mean, I know he's just one of us, but he's got good opinions too, man. I really like Bust It Open, guys. It's really fun.
I enjoy it too.
Yeah, good guys.
So, who do you still like daily basis talk to from your time in WB? Do you still have any like real close friends that you still talk to a lot?
I mean, not daily basis, maybe or maybe not. But I'll shoot Conway a text and Doug Basham a text every now and then. Aaron Stevens, Damian Sandow.
Oh yeah.
I shoot whenever I see something. I just saw a picture of Rock and Roll Express, Robert Gibson, and Eric Estrada together. So I had to send that to Damian Sandow because he think that was funny. And then like if I see Cena do something new, I'll usually text him, you're on the cover of this, you got this movie or whatnot, because I don't know. I feel like when you're at the top, it gets lonely at the top. So I like sending shouts out to the champ. Still my man.
Have you seen Ricky Stanicki yet?
Nope, I haven't seen it. I don't know if I want to see it, but is it good?
Bro, listen, I went into it expecting like just Animal House humor, just, kind of stupid comedy. But it's that plus a really good story. It blew my mind with how good it was. I was like, damn, I didn't expect this to be like, it was like an A story, dude. I really enjoyed it a lot.
Man, Cena is so talented. We used to do promo practice at OVW, and you try to stump the next guy. Like you do your interview, and then the next one, you're like, okay, you've got a match with this guy. Go, and you try to stump him. He was so good. Somebody put him in a 4-way Mario Kart go-kart race against Captain Crunch, like Aunt Jemima, somebody else, and his own nuts. And so he cut the promo on each one of them, and they were all different. One made you laugh, one made you, baby face, one was angry. And it was on the spot right there. He was so good, man. He's so talented. And I feel like as great as the John Cena character has become, how legendary and iconic, he can do so much more. Did you guys see him in the movie with Tina Fey and the
yes,
where he was like the
drug dealer?
Oh, he was so hard in that, man. He was so good. And that's just a small bit.
Dude, when he rattles off all the different drugs that he had in that tackle box. Shit'll make you lose your dick. Shit'll make you find your dick. Got them Flintstone vitamins.
Dude, I love him and Peacemaker, man. Like, you want to talk about a show that I was like, this might be okay. Man, he killed that role. I love it.
Did you guys see him in Cock Blockers?
Yeah. Oh, it's great.
A few times.
That was when he had the funnel and that was one of the things I've ever seen in my life. I've been I mean, that's up there with like the American Pie scene. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
For me, that was hilarious.
Oh, when he threw the fucking boyfriend through the wall.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I texted him after he came out with that Bumblebee movie. You know, I said, man, that's a high budget film. That's fucking awesome. I said, did they make you join the Illuminati? He texted me back, how do you know I wasn't already a part of it?
Of course he would.
That's great, man.
You know, he went to the military school, right? Vince went to the military school, right?
Yeah.
That's back when the network was only $9.99. If you turn that upside down, what is that?
Whoa.
Whoa, it's like a variant thing all of a sudden.
Not to mention that Gunther just lost his title on day 666. They could have done that on Sunday, but they put that match on Saturday for a reason.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, you know.
Stop it.
So I wrestled him. He was 18, 19, 17 years old in Germany. He was Big Van Walter. And I'm sure you guys have seen that picture where he's much bigger, much pudgier as a kid.
Oh, yeah.
I wrestled him then. And that's probably 12 or 15 years ago.
That's so
Did you take a chop from him?
No, like the German wrestling is or was a little different. Like they didn't do a whole lot of comedy. And I think he was expecting a more physical match. And I was just out there doing comedy and entertaining. And I think he was a little not let down, but I think he expected something different than I was willing to put my body through.
Yeah.
But I saw him. I wrestled on the show with him after that, and that's all they did. I can't remember who else was on it, but they just I don't remember who it was, but they were snug on one another for sure.
Yes. I'll talk about having a hamburger chest.
Yeah.
See, and what a transformation he's had. I mean, I remember when he was, NXT UK and he's just this big guy, big old chops and stuff. And then he like started, getting a little more in shape, losing weight and stuff. And I'm like, it kind of takes away from it. But man, just his presence, like it doesn't matter what his body looks like. He has such a presence about him. That dude's awesome.
And that's what I said, guys. If you go to the Performance Center, which I assume he went there for some point, if you don't leave there much better, a superstar, then you haven't really tried because they've got all the tools there.
Like wrestling college.
Absolutely.
It's amazing. You talked about like, Brian Gerwitz, making Eugene with the lines and stuff. But I think, a lot of your body language and your facial expressions were those handed to you, or was that stuff that, you were just coming up with according to the lines?
Some of this, like a handful of things Regal would feed me. Like he was the one that told me to run around with my plane arms out like an airplane. Right. But like most of the stuff was just stuff I'd seen other people do, like Lawler or even Hogan or, just guys, Handsome Jimmy Valiant, Mercy Mama, just guys growing up. And I just tried to make it Eugene's, you know what I mean? Like the anger, but Eugene might still be a little kooky anger, you know what I mean? And I just tried to make my own, but nothing was ever said, look at this way and make this face and then turn here. Only one time when Benoit and Triple H wrestled the 1 hour Iron Man match on Raw and Eugene shows up. Vince wanted a scene where I was on the table with the announcers and I was making some facial. So literally in the back before the show, I'm making faces at him for 10 minutes until he tells me it's the one he wants. I had the bandage and I was like angry, screaming, and the camera's right in my face. Most of it was me, but sometimes it would give me specific directions.
But I think those, those mannerisms and those facials are really what solidified the character as well. I mean, even when you did that in the beginning, just that was so.
It's a facial business.
Yeah, it really is. Yeah, I mean, because you can do moves all day long, but man, because 9 times out of 10, what are you looking at? You're looking at the person's face to see the, the pain or the elation or whatever on their face. And if you're just sitting in there deadpanning it, then it's not going to work.
But on top of that, you have to stop so the camera can get a close up of your face. If you're moving, you're doing moves, or if you're constantly turning, they're just going to pan back and shoot the match. Because if you won't still enough, when Eugene did the heads and the buckles, I would stand right there, and they got plenty of facials. And that's when you get angry, you got to stand there and just for enough, a 5 count in your head, get that beauty shot of whatever it is. And I think I feel like some newer guys want to have the match they want to have and do the cool moves they want to do, which has its place on a card. But the top guys have always drawn money by this and this.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That attention to detail is what really I like. Like for example, something when I watched earlier where I don't think you were in the match, but it was a segment where Triple H was wrestling somebody and he punches them in the head and he just kind of winced his hand for a split second. And just those little touches is what really brings the detail to stuff. And that's something you were absolutely excellent at, which segues to this that I wanted to bring up before we missed. This t-shirt, like I said, I bought this t-shirt a long time ago, but I want to bring up for those of you who don't know how neat this t-shirt is. Okay, so this shirt looks like I've got it on the right way, right? I do have it on the right way. But if you look at the back, this shirt was printed inside out, and I love that so much that it is an inside out shirt. Where did that idea come from? How does that take place?
So I had the jacket, right?
Yeah.
And red jacket, like an old school jobber 80s jacket. And Eugene wore that, and then I wore it inside out. And Triple H goes, well, why don't you put your name on the back of it the right way, so when you turn it inside out, it's backwards. And I did that, but I think maybe my hair was longer and the people didn't see the tag, but nobody realized it was a red jacket turned inside out, looking white with my name on backwards. They just thought it was a white with my, that's why the t-shirt was backwards, because the jacket was. And the very first one just had the name tag. Hello, my name is Eugene, and the t-shirt on backwards. Then they put the face one that you got, and that one really sold well.
Yeah, this one was a no-brainer for me, man. Like I said, I own 600 plus shirts. I've worn only wrestling shirts for the last 851 days. I am a connoisseur of wrestling shirts, if you will, and this is absolutely one of my all-time favorites. So I had to get that question in.
So, how does that, to kind of compound on that, how much does talent have on the input of their shirts? Like, do some of them not care? They're like, just make whatever, or do some of them try to get real creative with it, or how does that work?
I think they brought a sample to me, and I probably said yes. But I remember watching Randy, a different peg on the card than I was, and he had a little bit more input and had more merchandise, and he picked out the things and liked this but didn't like this, and really had an input. I probably could have done that, but I was so green. I was like, yeah, whatever looks great. The first thing you showed me, I got that. What I know now that I wish I knew then was that if you change your gear about every 8 weeks, they make a new action figure for the new year. So if you look at a guy like Jeff Hardy, he would change his gear about every 8 weeks, and all of a sudden they make a new action figure. Eugene sets of gear, and they only made one action figure for the first year. So I could have gotten maybe a little bit more action figures made, which means I would have made more money. So I wish I had done that, but
okay.
I'm surprised
you definitely
back any because they're retro and so many, and making them, with today's technology where they're much more lifelike. I'd be really surprised if they wouldn't be hitting you up for some sort of retro deal.
Well, there is one, and I don't know if I have it or not, because really getting in the weeds here, but I still get paid royalties, not a lot, but they didn't have my current address, and they didn't have a checking account to put it into. So a woman called me from the office, and we sorted it all out. And then in one of her last texts, she was like, yeah, they got your what's it called, nostalgia agreement.
Legends deal?
No, it wasn't Legends deal. It was a nostalgia agreement. And I remember the Headbangers about a year or 2 years ago were talking about they got a nostalgia agreement. And I never knew what that was. And then I texted the woman, and she didn't really reply. And I found out she got fired a few days after that. So I don't know if I have a nostalgia agreement. Basically, what I gather is if there is any retro merchandise that they're going to produce going forward, they want to have the agreement set.
So you get another check. All right. Yeah. Ching ching.
Absolutely.
I know if they put a new Elite Eugene out, especially if it comes with the ring jacket too, shut up and take my money.
Well, I think it should be the Superman outfit I had, because I didn't get an action figure. But I think it should be like an Ultimate Underdogs 3-pack, like me and maybe Funaki and maybe Spike Dudley or something.
Yeah.
Indeed.
Dogs 3-pack.
Crash Holly.
One of those, yeah, something like that.
That'd be awesome. I'd buy that
That'd be
too.
really good.
Be on my wall.
Some James Ellsworth.
Do you have a Eugene collection?
I think I've got one of all of them. I might have sold them off. I don't know. I'm in a big migration from South Dakota down here to Florida, so all my stuff's in boxes and some of it's still up there. But I have had all the action figures because I had a 2-pack with Hunter that was a Kmart exclusive, and that's the one I see.
Kmart. Dang.
And there was the original Eugene, the one in the Hulk Hogan Hulkamania Eugene Mania outfit, and then there was a 2-pack with Maven for WrestleMania, which I wasn't in WrestleMania with Maven, but we had a 2-pack. So,
All right.
Yeah, sure, why
whatever.
not?
Still got an action figure.
That's the type of obscure 2-pack that I would see and be like, all right, I'm gonna buy that.
Yeah.
I have a 2-pack of Miz and Maurice, but they're dressed like John Cena and Nikki Bella, and that's probably one of my favorite 2-packs ever.
I remember when they did that.
Yeah, I love stuff like that, man. Anytime there's a unique uniform or whatever you want to call it, unique outfit, I'm sold.
I used to have the Blue Bloods, Bobby Eaton and Steve Regal 2-pack, but I think I ended up selling that one. Because after a while, I got this stuff collecting on the walls like you guys got, and it's just like, I don't know.
Trust me, I get it, brother. We just went to Squared Circle Expo, and I brought 48 micro brawlers with me, and I ended up trading them all to Colt Cabana for T-shirts. So came back with more than I had, but whatever, you know.
That's what you do, man. When you're a collector.
Yeah.
So we're getting pretty close to an hour here, but I have to ask because I was reading up on it. I don't know how accurate this is, but I saw that. Did you have your own promotion at some point?
Yeah, when I was a coach at the Performance Center from 2013 to 2015. When I left Orlando, we moved to South Dakota, where I started Midwest All Pro Wrestling from 2015 to 2021. And with the help of the pandemic, the live event sales shot to the floor. So it was just things where I ended up selling the remnants of the company to a couple of the good students I had, and they started another little company. I think they're still doing some wrestling up there. But the cool thing about it was when I moved to Sioux Falls, there was no independent wrestling in Sioux Falls, and I didn't believe that at first. Like, there's got to be some kind of indie wrestling, but there wasn't. The nearest wrestling was 3 hours south in Omaha.
Oh,
wow!
Shit.
Open market.
So I went down to Omaha and I met those guys, and I took a group of them and ran my first show. And on the first show, I got my first 2 students. So I trained those guys for 2 months, had the second show. My first 2 students debuted on the second show. And you remember the WWF Desire videos with the Creed song?
Yeah.
I ripped it all off, man. And the song, graphics, and I had a guy make it for me. And I put the song to it. And these guys, I showed them like working out and doing a photo shoot and training in the ring. And then, and we're going tonight. And the bell rings and they come out and these guys are over. They were stars immediately. From that, and then it just kept growing. And I probably had in 5 years, maybe 250 to 300 students, maybe more.
Wow.
You know,
Wow.
I built a good community of wrestling there. The wrestling fans came out. You know, there was a girl that signed up and a guy that signed up, and they just got married like a month ago. So, you know, man, it's about families and communities, and it was a wrestling community that I felt like I contributed to. So,
Hell yeah.
Sioux Falls, near and dear to my heart.
So we know I Googled earlier your stats, of course, and I noticed you're not a father, but we do have a question that we like to ask every single person we have, whether they're a father or not, whether they're male or female even, because it's just important to us. Mike, you want to hit him with the question?
Of course, we are very budget-minded people, being dads and all. So we like to gauge, our guests on certain details of their life. And one important one is we like to know, what do you keep your thermostat set to?
If I would keep it set about 72 to 71, maybe 70. You know what I mean? But when it wasn't just me in the house, it would be up to 75, sometimes 76.
Are you part lizard?
No, not me. One in the house that
You got a
turned
money
it up.
tree growing in your backyard?
Back and forth. About 72, 71 maybe.
Oh shit!
Oh my God. Yeah, that's one we always like to ask. We usually try to hit between 68 and 70, but I suppose living in Florida 71, 72 relatively is probably a
Yeah,
pretty
because
good
I
temperature.
this air conditioner down to 69, but it's working to get down to 71. So
I'll bet it is.
New Sound Pro Wrestling is the name of your students' promotion for anyone that wants to know.
called Flagship Pro Wrestling, and then there's another group that branched off. Like this might be like NWO, and we might be seeing a secession. But yeah, the New Sound is one of the newer companies up there.
Okay.
I'm in negotiations to be booked for them, I think in August, but we haven't finalized anything. So Crash, hurry up and finalize it.
I mean, that's cool though that you know started something there, and people, you know, like you may not be there anymore, but you know, it's not like it just died. It branched off, and it's becoming something even bigger.
I feel like the company was successful, but when COVID came, and then my personal issues kind of disrupted a lot of things, and I've since moved out. But if I was to start a company in a more populated area, I think we could have made a lot more money, because there's only like 180,000 people in the Sioux Falls metropolitan area, 200,000 people maybe. You know, if I open one in Tampa, man, there's probably 1 million people here. Houston, you know, somewhere like Phoenix, somewhere like that.
Yeah.
If you open one in Tampa, you let us know. We got a really good photographer who lives down there.
Man, I don't know if I want to jump back into promoting, because I've always seen this side of it, and now I see another side of it, and I don't know. It was hard work, man. It was hard work.
It looks like it.
Yeah, we're in talks with a couple local companies around here about potentially doing our entire own sponsored show, and just the logistics behind it and the money behind it it's definitely like a whew, you know, I'm going to spend this much money to hopefully get some subscribers.
Like we were talking about the graphics earlier. I was doing the graphics. I was making the videos. I was booking the towns. I was training the wrestlers. I was doing the training. You know what I mean? I mean, I had a lot on my plate. I didn't have a lot of soldiers to help me out.
Yeah, bro, we get it. There's a reason that you're our first show back in 2 weeks. We took 2 weeks off as just kind of a mental health break. We are definitely very heavy proponents of positive men's mental health, because, you know, I mean, I'm sure you being 48, you dealt with the same stuff that we have of we aren't supposed to have no feelings, you know. So these days we try to be as open as we can, you know what I mean, as supportive as we can. So we try to promote that positive mental health.
Absolutely. Well, then don't mind me taking this time to talk about my new biggest project, which is my new YouTube channel, Eugene Behind the Scenes. We've been in operation for just a couple months, and we got new videos coming out every Thursday. So Eugene Behind the Scenes on YouTube is my new YouTube channel, where I'm going to dig deep into the weeds like we have tonight, spanning my whole career, and just really, really talk about all the behind the scenes things.
Hell yeah. I love that. That's awesome.
Check that
I'm
out.
definitely going to tune into that.
Heck yeah, man.
Yeah, that sounds awesome. So that's on YouTube. Are you uploading to audio platforms at all, or are you just doing strictly YouTube?
I got my main man Von Lilas doing all the production on this, because like I said, I used to do all that, and he's much better at it than I am. So I don't know if we ventured into audio only, but we're on the YouTube right now.
Okay.
I'm sure we'll out to other platforms and other ways to get the message out, but as for right now, we're just on YouTube, and we're doing pretty well. We had like one of our first couple of videos hit like 200,000 subscribers in a couple of weeks, or 200,000 views in a couple of weeks.
Hell yeah, man. That's awesome.
I thought it was going to be easy street after that, and then everything just kind of slowed down after that. So I don't know if the algorithm, or if we need to catch your hook bait lines for our titles or whatever.
Yeah, trust me, we get it, man. There's been times, but you know, we'd have over 1,000 views on a video, and then the next one would get 35. You know,
when I had the wrestling company, Midwest All Pro Wrestling, I had the YouTube channel just for that, right? I had one video that had 1.5 million views, and the title was "Boogeyman Terrorizes Fargo," and the Boogeyman was chasing all the wrestlers around with the worms, and like he threw them high and they all ducked. He threw them low and they all jumped. And it was a video, 1.5 million views. So then I was posting like some Dynamite Kid versus Tiger Mask matches, which I thought are great matches. And as a wrestling school, I was going to say, this is how you do it. And then New Japan flagged me 3 times, and I lost my entire channel. So
Come on, New Japan.
And like YouTube even gave me an email address to like try to talk to him. And I sent him an email. No reply. No sold me.
Yeah.
Wow.
Thank you very much.
Hey, we've gotten a bit of no sells here in the past, but I'll tell you this much: ever since we got your cohort Al Snow on our show, our yeses have gotten so much more. I don't know if that's a coincidence or not, but like I talked to you before the show started, we're just three dads trying to build a brand, man, and we want to build a serious brand. We're serious about what we're doing. We want to have some good interviews that are also just good conversations, man. We don't want people to feel like they're on a talk show as much as they are listening to four dudes talk. So we appreciate you coming on, though, Eugene. We had a nice, easy hour with you, man. You've been an absolute pleasure to be on the show tonight, man.
Well, I appreciate you guys. Thank you so much. It has been fun.
Thank you. Yeah, it was great to get to know you.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Is there anything else you'd want to plug before we wrap this up?
Man, I got my Twitter or my X. I guess I got an X and an X, right? I don't know.
You live in Texas?
At Eugene Dinsmore, Dinsmore. I got an Instagram, Nick Dinsmore, but I don't post on it a whole lot. So, but check out my YouTube channel, Eugene Behind the Scenes, and check out all the videos we're doing. I appreciate you guys. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Thank you, man. As always, check us out on all the socials at DW_podcast, Facebook at the DWO podcast, TikTok at DW_pod. Get that dad merch at Pro Wrestling Tees and T Public, or message us directly. We got stuff and we can send it to you. Thank you again so much for coming on, man. We really appreciated this. And until next time, Top Dads out.
Thank you guys.